Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final podcast for the month of July for Sandlot Talks. And I am going to be doing my Summerslam review. I do have some guests that will be appearing on later because they're getting some stuff done and they'll be able to hop on. But yeah, so it'll be just me for right now. So I'll be doing some stuff. I'm going to show what I have planned up for what I have for August. So hope everyone is having a wonderful evening so far. I pinned it in my Twitch chat right now, the link to my YouTube. This podcast will be up on YouTube probably later tonight, possibly tomorrow, because we are doing this on Thursdays. I've given myself a little bit more time to do this. But yeah, we're gonna be doing SummerSlam, going over some of the matches that are officially announced. I do have some rumored matches that are probably gonna be matches anyways. There's gonna be like one match that I'm not gonna talk about that I've removed since there is someone that is injured that would be part of this match, and that is Kevin Owens. So I do hope that he recovers really well. Same with Liv Morgan, because she is also injured as well. And happy birthday, Triple H, because it's also his birthday. Um, so let's start off with some things with August. Here we go. This is what I have so far. I might add some things. So we're going to start off literally on the first day of August. For the MLB trade line, there's trades going on right now. So it's going to be pretty exciting. I'll be going live. I'll be able to do some breaking news on stream because I'm going to have my TV on for MLB Network to see if there's anything on. I know, believe yesterday, I know the Dodgers had made some moves. Angels made some moves last night, getting a pitcher from the Chicago White Sox. Happy for them because I am an Angels fan. And then I'm still waiting to set a date for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie review. I know that movie comes out August 2nd, so I'm going to try to watch that as soon as possible and then see if I can get some guests. I might even cosplay for this one, like go full on, wear the Ninja Turtles masks and stuff. Then, for the first time ever, because I haven't done an official AEW podcast just yet. I've been mostly doing WWE, but then I would like in some of the segments I would compare to like what AEW is doing. I'm doing a full on AEW one August 25th for AEW All Out. This is their first ever big stadium show, so I do want to do some coverage on that one. I know All Out in Chicago is like literally the next week after, so I might do something in September for that. But yeah, that's what I got so far. I might add something involving football, because the NFL season is also starting. But we'll get into that later when I get more information for that. But yeah, let me switch over to my actual live scene, or let me undeath myself in Discord real quick, so when my guests do pop in, they know that I'm on a live mic, on the hot mic. Alrighty, live scene. Hello everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm wearing my NXT Stand and Deliver shirt, and then I'm wearing Last Black Spartan's Drip God hat. And then I'm also gonna flex the title because I am the champ. I won predictions last time, so I'm just gonna flex that. What I'll probably do is print out my logo and just slap it over the WWE title. So I am the champ. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing really well. SummerSlam. I know the go home shows are next week, and I'm going to be busy next week, so I'm not going to be able to go in right away to predictions for next week because then we're already in August, and I didn't want to push back this predictions to next week because I'll be a little bit busy next week. But yeah, so we had, or tomorrow's Friday. I know they might maybe announce some stuff, but I feel like they're not. And then they're probably, maybe except for one match that they'll probably officially announce on next Monday, is probably the Raquel versus Rhea Ripley match at SummerSlam, because that it hasn't gone official yet, but they're still teasing because again, Rhea attacked Liv Morgan on Monday Night Raw. But yeah, I'm trying to like think of other things that have happened. I know again, well wishes to Kevin Owens too. I know that was like one of the matches that I had thing that we could talk about. But again, Kevin Owens is actually legitimately injured. So I was like, okay, we're not going to talk about this match because the match might not happen. And then, oh, someone just popped in. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, hello, good sir. Hold on.
Hello.
There we go.
What's up?
Fix. There we go. I forgot I had myself full screen on Discord. There we go, sir. I haven't gotten into the predictions yet, but I'll let you introduce yourself. Niners, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
To the people, all the people. Well, name is Niners for life. Again, for the most part, haven't been back streaming yet, but do a lot of variety stuff, a lot of games, and honestly, one of the things I enjoy, which I know Al, you and I both have a love for baseball, so I just got done streaming our high school teams games this year, so for the fourth year in a row, so super enjoy that. And you guys ever get a chance to listen to me, don't listen to anything I really say because I really don't know a lot. I just make stuff up as we go along. So kind of like I'm gonna do here.
No, don't cap. You put some good insight into that. Same with your partner on the broadcast. You guys do a lot of good insight on that. But
Yeah, we enjoy what we
yeah,
do.
but
We're
yeah,
hoping to expand to a couple more cameras next year and make it a little bit more, even a little bit more fun and exciting. So
that'd be good. I wouldn't mind a camera like on the on deck circle, so then you can pan to like, oh, this person's on deck and see how they prep before you switch back to the main game when the pitchers
yep,
are like doing.
yeah, we're looking at possibly. So I got to work with our IT people, but we're hoping to be able to put a camera on either post so that we can get not only get on deck circle but get like batters, so left or righty we can look into their chest and get a front on view of them, something a little different.
That'd be good. And then I know I was talking about Monday Night Raw because I know SmackDown's tomorrow, and they're not gonna really do much other than forward any other storylines leading up to SmackDown. I don't think they're gonna really announce anything. I mean, the only thing that they'll probably set up is Austin Theory's opponent, which they have slated for next Friday. So he's not gonna be on the SummerSlam card, but we're still gonna talk about his match.
Hmm. Okay.
But
I'm surprised they aren't putting him on the card.
well, the card is already pretty stacked because they have what
Well,
I'm looking at it. What they have like 9 matches already, nine-ish matches. Because they don't. I'm just saying that because they don't want to pull an AEW with like 14 plus.
yeah.
And
Well,
then
there'll
then
be a
you'll
few of them that'll be
and
squash.
then I feel like they're gonna do what they did with this year's WrestleMania, is that they're gonna have a whole bunch of more advertisements. Because again, that they are gonna be in Detroit at Ford Stadium, or Ford Field, my bad. So I feel like there's gonna be a lot of advertisements like they did for WrestleMania, especially night two. Night two was a little annoying with the advertisements.
Yeah,
and my
you're right.
cousin was there in person, and he
Oh,
told me how much they
jeez.
and he told me how much they were booing.
Every time there was a
It was the one, like the Pope's Exorcist. Whenever they would pop that one on their screens in the stadium,
mm,
they would boo that one a lot. And I forgot there was like an insurance one too that they booed a lot. And then,
huh,
speaking of going to wrestling shows, I'm going to Monday Night Raw this September because they're coming back to California and they're going to be in my area. So I'm actually going to be going.
nice.
So it was funny. I was actually like, man, I need wrestling to come back to California because I was like, shit, I don't know when they're going to come back. And then I like brought it into existence when I saw like, oh, they're going to be here in September. And then they just announced for NXT that they're doing No Mercy, and they're also gonna be in California, but they're like a little bit up north from me. So like
Okay.
if I were to go to that, I would need to do a drive. And then this weekend is actually Great American Bash for NXT in Texas. If anyone is
Correct.
if anyone is interested in that.
Yeah, I almost had thought about going to SummerSlam because I'm actually going to be in Detroit area next week for work. But we're coming back on Thursday, so I won't be able to. I wouldn't be there over the weekend. But I'm like, man, if there'd been one more week that we'd have gone up, I'd have gone early, and that would have been fun.
I mean, I wouldn't mind going to Summerslam. I mean, like, look at like all the times that they were in California for like that big stretch of years that they were just coming to California, and then they started going to New York. I know. I think before they started going to the big stadiums, their last one, like in the small arena, was in Boston, and then that's when they're like, oh, we're gonna go to Vegas, and then they were in Nashville last year. Now they're gonna be in Detroit, in their football stadium, and then they'll probably announce what they'll be for next year because that's what they did last year. That they announced,
They
oh
did
yeah,
that a year ago, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and so they'll probably do that. I know a lot of people are talking about WrestleMania 41 location. That Minneapolis, Minnesota is like one of the main targets. I know a lot of people, especially the UK, want London. I wouldn't mind a London crowd in WrestleMania because they were
That
really
would be awesome.
entertaining. Then
Yeah, that would be fun because that was fun to watch.
I'm trying to think of like any other cities that are in the running. I know Nashville, like, because they're getting a new stadium soon,
Yep.
and they talked about like once it's up and running that they can host a WrestleMania, which I wouldn't mind that. Um,
Yeah, they would be a pretty
if they do
decent.
Minnesota, broadcaster retire there. No, I'm just saying because
s-
that's his hometown.
Yep. And that's the one I'd have to really take a look at possibly going to because that's 3 hours from my house up to US Bank. So I'm like, oh, that one I'd have to probably go to.
Yeah, you got to. It's WrestleMania. I mean, I regret not going to WrestleMania because I mean, finances reasons. So of course,
You know,
but
that would be the reason that would hold me out. But
it's like if you don't get to go to WrestleMania, at least participate in WrestleMania week. Going to Monday night, the
yep,
or it's SmackDown. Then of course the Hall of Fame is after SmackDown, and then you have the NXT show in the morning, and then you have the 2 night
too
WrestleManias,
nice.
and then you have the Monday after Mania.
Yep.
Like as long as you get to at least be part of those, which I was actually grateful that I could be part of those.
Yeah,
So
that'd be
except for
if
Monday
that
Night Raw, because I hate the fact that we were one of the worst Mondays after Mania.
post post Mania
I hate that
Raws.
because then everyone was so focused on the whole merger, and then Vince got in creative and just messed up the entire show. And I was like, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I was fine with the Brock heel turn because I mean, when Cody was like, "Oh, I'm gonna need a partner" and all this other stuff, and then Brock came out, and I was like, everyone
Yep.
lost their minds, of course. And then the whole heel turn at the end, which I had a feeling something was gonna happen because I kept when I go to wrestling shows and I'm like, all right, this is a 3 hour show, this is a 2 hour show, I'm gonna keep time. So if there's like
Mm,
30 minutes or less, or whatever, I was like, oh man, something's gotta happen.
something's coming.
But yeah, I don't know. Did you watch Monday Night Raw this week?
I was in and out of it.
Because
I
I know,
watched I watched most of it. I watched highlights of pretty much everything from um, which is gonna probably I won't say it'll probably skew my predictions based on what happened Monday night, but
I mean,
or a couple of things anyway.
there's nothing really much happened. I mean, I know they did the contract signing for the world heavyweight title, so that's official.
Yep,
They made official Jake Paul versus Ricochet. The
yep,
IC title's official now. Shayna Ronda Rousey's official. Actually, today, like I just saw that post today that they had finally
yep.
posted
I
that's
saw that one come
official.
through, and then I mean, obviously the Lesnar Rhodes
Yeah,
match, which
which I'm expecting a stipulation on that match, please.
yep,
Which
yep,
we'll
I
get
am too.
into when we get into that match. I mean, we can go ahead and start predictions. I know if Waffles does end up joining us, she can pop in. I know JT said he couldn't make it because he had some internet issues, so I'm not gonna
Ooh,
um and he did give me his predictions beforehand, so I was actually
Okay.
beforehand, so he would be participating again just to flex off my championship because I am the champion.
Oh,
I am the champion. I have an NXT and an AEW belt as well, but since we're doing WWE predictions, I will flex out the WWE title right now. But yeah, speaking of predictions, I'm going based off the Google Doc that I sent out, and I've
okay.
written all down on a piece of paper just so I don't have to keep all my tabs open. So we can start off with Shayna versus Rousey because I just don't really care about the match. So just get it over with.
Yeah, I think it's one of the worst kept secrets in
Yeah.
the company right now that Rousey's leaving. So you know that she's not beating Shayna, and they've done a pretty good job of boosting Shayna up here the last couple weeks. And it's been actually, I'll say one thing. I'll say it's been nice to hear her on the mic once in a while, because for the longest time she didn't say a word. And so I just wondered if she could, talk on the mic, but she's done a pretty good job the last couple weeks. So I'm not excited for that match in particular, just because, like I said, I think it'll be, but I think it could be interesting to see how far they let the two of them go, um, because both of them having come from UFC, you could see a lot of physicality in this one, and I think this one could be not that it'll steal the show, but it could be a brutal match just from the physicality standpoint with these two.
It's just like the build though. It was just very confusing. Like the whole like, oh, Shayna turned heel, or I'm gonna say she turned face because everyone's loving Shayna right
Yep.
now. And I knew that she was a talker because again, she was mostly by herself in her NXT days. I know she had her version of the Four Horsemen stable with, but mostly of the MMA fighters, including Ronda Rousey. Um,
Yep.
but but she was mostly on her own and would do the talking. It was just weird when they did pair her up with Rousey, that it was mainly Ronda Rousey talking, and I was like, and I figured WWE would have learned that she can't really talk, and that she struggles, or during her promos, like they make her rush through, or she rushes through her like promo that, like, oh, here's your script, you gotta say this, and then she like tries to rush through it when she doesn't need to. It's like take your time,
Yep.
like take your time with it, and then, get any kind of heat from the crowd, because I know the crowd's not gonna like you, so at least be a heel about it. Even though like some people were thinking that she's the face in this match, I don't think so. Even though Shayna has been still doing like the heelish kind of tactics, but I feel like they should do a stipulation on this match. Like I wouldn't mind this match being in a fight pit match, like they're fighting
Yes.
in that, possibly even a submissions match because again they're both MMA fighters, so they can do all the grapples and
That would
stuff.
be a good one as well, but I think I agree with you that if they did the pit match like Rollins and Riddle did, that would be an outstanding match.
But it
Yeah,
is
I think that's
interesting.
just weird.
But it's just like the entire build because again Rousey was like,
Y-
oh, I want to be the tag champs because I want to make the women's tag division legitimate. And then a few weeks later, then here's all these rumors that she's gonna go do another match, or not another fight in UFC. So then they basically strip them the titles. They go to live in Raquel, and then oh, it's just like I don't like the hot potatoes thing
No,
that they had been doing right now. Like I'm actually happy for Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green for being the women's tag champs because I feel like they can actually hold the titles for a bit, and then they can build up other teams around
yeah, I think
there.
there's a lot they can do with the two of them. It was a
Yeah.
good move, and I think everybody's going to be calling for. Well, I mean, you've seen it. Everybody's calling for Rodriguez to get into the single side of things. So there again, now you've got if you pull her into that, what do you do with Liv? So no, I like the fact that they put it on what really, I mean, Sonya and Chelsea really seem to be a true tag team, and they haven't had that in a while from the women's side.
It's just I don't like when they just like grab, oh well, you're a single star, you're not really doing anything, so
Yeah.
we're just gonna throw you in a tag team with another person that we have no creative with. Um, I know, and this is why I wish that they didn't release Ember Moon, also known as Athena, on
Mhm.
AEW and Ring of Honor, because she was in a really good tag team with Shotzi, and they were doing really really well. Hi Waffles.
Waffles.
And then I believe
Um,
this is when they called up Shotzi, but they didn't do anything with Ember Moon, and then that's when she got released. Because again, they were a really good tag team, and then they did the same thing again with Shotzi because she tag team with Tegan Knox. Again, they had good
Yep.
chemistry and a good decent tag team, and then they released Tegan Knox. But
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
they're
know what's going on.
it's just weird. And I know we're going off topic, but I mean, it kind of does correlate because again, this is like kind of what they're doing with Shayna and Rousey, because again, Rousey's gonna most likely leave.
Well, I gotta imagine that they knew that this was the case with her. That this wasn't. It almost like is like they took too long to set the build up, and they weren't able to. They weren't able to really put a true build on these two because, like you said, a stipulation match here would be great because the build has not been great for these two, and it's a match that I'm I'm all right seeing, but I'm not super excited as you look at the card to see this match.
I think the only thing that I actually really like a build is that Shayna's actually taking digs at Rousey. Like she took a dig at her promo skills and all the like breaking the fourth wall, like how we would see with Roman, Cody, and Seth, and John Cena would do sometimes in their promos that they'll break the fourth wall here and there. Like I do like that they had let Shayna do that for there, but I'm like.
Yeah, it gives you a little
Hmm.
boost there, but yeah, overall, this has been kind of a subpar build for as you especially as you look at when it's sitting up against some of the other matches that have been built to this point. It's just it's so hard to look at it and go, wow, that they just really didn't put a lot of time into that one.
Waffles, do you have any thoughts on this Shayna versus Ronda Rousey match?
this would be boring
Anything else? Just boring. Elaborate. Why you think it's gonna be boring?
because it's Shayna and Ronda. It's too rushed. There's no story to it. It's like, oh, just turned heel, and then even though they're heels, it's like, okay, guess Shayna's more heel than Ronda heel. I'm like, okay, but if that means she's gonna leave the company for a bit, I'm fine with it.
Alrighty, then we can do
Because Shayna is
predictions.
definitely better, though. Shayna is definitely better.
Well, what I'm hoping for from this match, this is more let's
Oh,
build
fuck.
Shayna as a single star. Because again, you need
Sorry, I hit my head on the fucking microphone.
watch with the F bombs, please. This is gonna go on YouTube, please.
Oh, well, YouTube could go suck. I'm kidding.
Alright.
And Al's off YouTube.
I'll make
Jeez.
a promo right here, right now. You hear that, YouTube?
Alrighty. But again, as I was saying, I'm hoping what they do is that if they're not going to pair Shayna up with any other tag teams, just keep her, build her up as a single star. Because again, I believe she's drafted on Raw because she was on Raw. Um, if they're going to go with the face approach, I mean, you can even build her up to potentially face Rhea after this because Rhea has no one really to fight and she hasn't really been defending her title like Roman.
You know what they should do? They should pair up with Natalia.
No,
You
please.
hit your head too hard, Waffles.
No, Natalia could make Shayna better. I've seen it happen with like 10 different other people. The only
Alrighty.
thing is Natalia can't win.
Alright, we can get into the predictions to this match so we can move on to the next one then. JT actually picked Ronda Rousey. I don't know how I feel about that one, JT. Um, I'm
JT hit
choosing
his
Shayna Baszler
head.
because again, Rousey's leaving, possibly going back to the UFC. Niners, I'll let you choose your pick and to lock in.
I am also taking Baszler.
Waffles, your pick?
Same.
Alrighty, they're locked in. Again, towards the end of the podcast, I will ask again if you guys would like to make one last change, because then after that, it will be official. And then again, it is for the title that I will be defending, because I am the champ. I am the champ. Alrighty. The next match, again, like I had alluded to earlier, it's not going to be on SummerSlam. I believe it's just going to be on SmackDown next week. Tomorrow is the official number one contenders match for the U.S. title between Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio. I want to rant because I am pissed off here, Triple H. You be telling people, oh, if they wait, if they are patient enough, it will come back good. I've been waiting since WrestleMania. Remember, you can't have WrestleMania LA without LA Knight. And the way he was so over when we were watching SmackDown in person during the Battle Royale. I mean, again, I know Bobby Lashley had a very unfortunate because Bray Wyatt got sick and he couldn't do WrestleMania against Bray Wyatt. But come on, man, give my man LA Knight something. And the fact that there's reports going, oh well, we're gonna push him after SummerSlam. And this is like the same thing with Cody. I don't know how I feel like delaying someone's push, especially when they're white hot, especially with the crowd. And he's selling merchandise, which is something that like Vince was always on about. Like, oh yeah, like if you sell the merch, we're definitely gonna be on the pushing you very high. There's a reason why John Cena was pushed a lot because he was selling a lot of merchandise. And then you have now Cody's the number one spot with one of his shirts. And then the next like top five, next four slots are all LA Knight. And he's selling merch. People want this. Most of his videos that they post on social media or when you're watching live is getting like high ratings. Like what are you doing? Why aren't you pushing this man? And I thought he was gonna win the Fatal 4-Way last week, because the previous week before even that, when they announced who was be part of the other Fatal 4-Way match, they showed the first three people, and they were like, oh well, who's the fourth one? Then they have LA Knight come out to do a promo about it. So I was like, okay, they're letting the crowd be more involved with LA Knight. So I was like, okay, cool. Does this mean he can possibly? And especially when I saw Santos Escobar win the other one, I was like, okay, cool.
Yes.
They brought in someone that is a good wrestler, looks strong too, and I am happy that they are pushing Escobar too, because Escobar did really well in NXT when I was watching, and it just pissed me off. And then you have Theory intervene with the match, gets involved with Rey Mysterio, and so as soon as I saw that, I was like, great.
Yep.
LA Knight's not gonna win, because they're gonna have Rey Mysterio win, and then it'll be him versus Santos. Again, I hope this doesn't allude to like a heel turn for Santos, because they're in the faction LWO, and I don't know why everyone all of a sudden wants to destroy everyone's factions. As soon as one of the bigger factions that's carried the company for the past 3 years decides to crumble, we're gonna get rid of the other ones. So I hope that doesn't allude to that. It's more of it's mentor versus mentee kind of thing, and then hopefully the mentee wins, and the mentor is like, yeah, go do your thing. And I was also reading other reports that WWE wants to push another Latino champ, which I don't mind, representation, because I am a part Latino. But man, very big missed opportunity to do something with LA Knight. You don't have him in the world championship picture with Roman or Seth. You can keep him in the mid card for a while with the US title, because Austin Theory is really boring. I'm tired of just seeing Austin Theory. I've seen videos of him, like he's not in character as a heel. He actually really makes a good baby face.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Agreed.
so I don't know why they keep pushing this heel thing with him. Like, it's boring. No one's gonna really react to him. I mean, yeah, they'll boo him, or they'll do what John Cena said. They'll pipe in noise for him. It just doesn't make any sense. And what is this new push for LA Knight? Like, is it gonna involve the U.S. title? Is like, because it seems like Triple H is in likes longer title reigns. So like, say if Santos wins this one, is he gonna get a long title reign here? What are they gonna do with LA Knight? I other reports that I saw that he actually might have a segment on SummerSlam that could allude to a possible return, but I just don't know because again, this is your considered your second biggest pay per view of the year after WrestleMania, and you don't have LA Knight on it. So that's why I'm really hoping that the crowd can take over and really preach, like, do that Daniel Bryan 2014 to 2015 yes movement stuff with LA Knight. As I was like, just he needs the push. My rant is over. I
No, I agree with you on all those points. My biggest concern with him is, and to your point, he is such a hot commodity right now. Fans are behind him. He's selling urge. At some point, you're going to see what has happened with other faces when they finally when they wear out that heat. That heat's going to turn on them. And when that happens, now what do? Now you've lost your opportunity with him as a huge face. And as much as I like him as a heel, because I do like his heel character, I think right now the crowd has embraced him, and I don't know if that's maybe the reason why they haven't. I mean, I don't know who you bring in that he could go after that's going to turn the crowd on him. I don't think there's anybody right now.
I will say some people are saying it could be Randy Orton that could possibly like, say if they do let him have a segment on SummerSlam. Some people are saying it could be Randy Orton. I mean, I guess that could be something like, oh well, because Randy's back, and we're all happy to see Randy again because he's fully recovered from his injury and stuff. I can see something like that maybe, but it's like, are they gonna really push LA Knight to beat Randy Orton? Because again, if this is Randy Orton's return, you would love to see Randy win, but it's like I just really don't know what they're doing here with LA Knight. Because again, you have the open opportunity right here to give him the U.S. title. And
Yep.
and I love Santos Escobar because right now my prediction is Santos Escobar winning the U.S. title on SmackDown next week, and I love him because what he does, and I like the whole luchador style of wrestling because I was really big Rey Mysterio fan growing up, as well as when I was watching in like 2005, and he was like one of the main people that
Yep.
I would be watching. And then but it's like I really don't know what they're gonna do with him. And it's like I wish that they could move him over to Raw, possibly, because like the way that I'm thinking, move him over to Raw, elevate Gunther to world champ status, and then let LA Knight run with the IC title. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Thank you for the clapping. Oh
No,
my god. Waffles,
I agree with you.
do you have any other thoughts to add to this with this whole LA Knight thing?
I want LA Knight to win WrestleMania. Period. Like, no, I don't know. I think it's all on him at this point because a lot of the news says he has really bad backstage presence. Like, he rubs people off the wrong way. So if it's honestly, if it's to the point where it's like the fans want him, but the company's like, oh, this bitch is stupid. Sorry, I just realized it's on YouTube. But like, yeah, no, it's honestly it's up to LA Knight, his attitude or whatever is going on with him. All on him.
I will say this. This shouldn't even be a factor though, because it's like look at all these other people. Like again, we watch Wrestle Talk News. They brought up other people that have had backstage issues in the, and they would be like champions like Charlotte Flair with all her issues that she would have backstage with the other four horsewomen, and here she is like closing in on Ric Flair's record as well, getting title left and right in a title match for SummerSlam. And then like other examples
Mm,
too.
I don't know.
And Shawn Michaels had backstage issues when he was wrestling, and well, this early Shawn Michaels. And Shawn Michaels got better with his ways in his second run with WWE.
Mm,
But I'm like, I don't like the backstage politics because it just ruins everything and it just kills the momentum of people. And this is my only concern with him is that people are just gonna not want to react to him anymore after if they just keep delaying his push. That's the only thing I'm also worried about with like someone like Cody. If you're gonna make us wait a whole year to WrestleMania 40 to
mm,
do something with him, it's like, is the
I
crowd
don't
still gonna
know.
be invested?
No, I don't think anyone's invested anymore.
No, Cody's still hot right now. Mm,
Is he?
yes,
To you?
he always gets a good reaction. What do you mean? He's like basically John Cena 2.0, the way that they're treating him as the big baby face. I wouldn't mind him having him turn heel, but down the road.
Mm.
But right now he needs to be a baby face for this, for his story to finish. And his documentary actually comes out next week, so I'm definitely gonna be watching that. But back to the main match, because we had to go on. I had to go on this rant about LA Knight because
Mm,
push the man, because you literally have the bloodline, people involved with the bloodline at the top of wrestling right now. You have MJF and Adam Cole, what they're doing near the top, because I really love what they're doing over there, because it's very comedic. And then you have LA Knight as like the hottest guys, like over with the crowd. But let's get back to the match. Again, I have Santos Escobar beating Rey Mysterio tomorrow on SmackDown. So then Hugh will face Theory. I have Santos Escobar winning because again, if these rumors and reports are going around that they want a Latino champ, I mean, other than Dominic Mysterio, of course, I feel like they could pull the trigger with Santos. I feel like he would make a good mid card champion before they decide to elevate him to world champ status, especially when you have Roman Reigns still champion. He would get eaten alive to be elevated to that title. And so I'm going to go with Santos beating Theory. And again, Theory is really boring. I just need the title off of him. Take him off TV for a bit. Make him a baby face or something, please. Because again, he's a genuinely good person. Or you can even do his character when he was with Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, and Indy Hartwell, and down in NXT where he would play like the dumb guy. Like, oh, I don't like. I'm trying to like word it that like he wasn't aware of his like surroundings, so
Yeah.
he would say dumb things. Like
Hmm.
there's this famous or segment that he did with Johnny Gargano, and then you have Karrion Cross's wife, and she's showing a lot of cleavage, and he basically like alluded to that and being like unaware, like, oh, she can hear you too, kind of thing. But I don't know.
um, I'm
Um,
more invested in MJF and Adam Cole.
mhm. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna lock in with Santos. JT chose Awesome Theory, so that's interesting. Niners, who are you locking in with this match?
I'm joining JT because I think as much as they don't want, I don't think Mysterio gets it. I don't think they're going to give him the run. Santos, I'd like to see him get it. In fact, that's who I really would like to see. But I have a feeling they're going to give Mysterio one more match against Theory, and I think Theory is going to find a way to cheat his way out of it. as he always does, which irritates the hell out of me. But if you look at it right now, from the champ side, you don't. He's your sneaky champ. He's your one who finds a way to escape every opportunity. So I think they're going to keep it on him for the short term. I don't even know who would take it off him. I would like to see LA Knight take it off him, to be honest with you, as we were just talking about. If that's the case, you got to keep it on him to give LA Knight the opportunity. Now, maybe that's what happens. Maybe LA Knight comes out and interrupts the match and forces a DQ win for Theory, where he doesn't lose where the belt doesn't go anywhere. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I think that the long-term plan has got to be LA Knight taking it off of Theory, because I don't see him taking it off of either of the other. I don't think the other two, like I said, I don't think Ray is going to get another run. And well, I do think Santos is ready. I don't think you turn him heel right now, just because he came off that heel run to join the LWO, and that's been a huge boost for him. So I think you keep him there and you move. Like I said, I think long term it's going to be LA Knight taking it off of Theory, but that's the case. That means Theory's got to hold on to it.
I will say, if Theory retains, I can see Theory losing at Survivor Series, because that's their next big pay-per-view. Even though I don't feel like Survivor Series isn't really part of the Big Four anymore. I mean, unless they keep doing War Games, of course. Waffles, your pick. What are you doing?
Blowing bubbles.
Your pick, please.
Austin Theory.
Your reasons why? Elaborate.
Because they love him too much. That's Vince's baby right there. I honestly don't think they'll get rid of him, like, champion until, like, it's time. But honestly, it is time. It's just, I don't think they're gonna get rid of him. They're just, like, an upset.
Alrighty. Then we can move on to the next match. Again, we're not going to talk about the match that I have, because I believe the next one was the Undisputed Tag Champions. Again, Kevin Owens is actually legitimately injured. So this is like their way of not having the tag champs involved with SummerSlam, which I'm completely fine with. Even if they were, it probably would have been against the Judgment Day. So we're not going to talk about that. But like I said, Kevin Owens, hope you get well very soon. We'll move on to our next match after that, which I have is Jake Paul versus Ricochet. Now, just to come back to LA Knight, because I just want to talk about LA Knight. I figured they were alluding more to an LA Knight versus Jake Paul feud for SummerSlam, like the way that they were leading up to Money in the Bank. Like, Paul was like, "Oh, once I won that briefcase, I'm just gonna smack LA Knight across the head with it," and all these other things, and they were taking jabs at each other. That's where I figured that they were gonna lead to, but I'm honestly happy that they're not, because this is Jake Paul's match. Like, they want to give him a win because he hasn't won in a while, because all of his other matches were title matches that we knew he wasn't gonna win, or he was facing like one of the bigger stars like Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. So you have him against Ricochet. I feel like it will be a good match. Again, Jake Paul seems to be, or Logan Paul. Why did I put Jake Paul?
Yeah, whichever Paul.
It's Logan Paul. Logan Paul. I might have probably made that mistake when I was writing the outline, but Logan Paul. There we go. One of the Paul brothers. But yeah, like I said, this is their way here. We're gonna give you another one here because you're facing a mid carder. Just like with last year's SummerSlam when he faced The Miz, they're like, all right, we're gonna give you the win here. But the build has been alright. I mean, like, literally, the entire build is like, oh, we're gonna do a whole viral moment kind of thing, which I will be interested what they'll do then for that viral moment during the match. It'll for sure involve Ricochet jumping off something. I don't know what, because I'm hoping I'm wondering what they'll do for the setup for
Yeah, the set'll determine that, I think.
mm. So I mean that all depends on that. But again, I have Logan Paul winning this match. JT also has Logan Paul. Uh, again, I
Jake Paul. So I think you should have to take Jake Paul.
thought you saying Jake Paul. I'm just gonna say
No, I'm
Paul.
kidding.
But again, there's nothing really to the build. Like I said, other than we're gonna do something viral on social media kind of thing, which is it's an alright build. I don't know what they'll do for next Monday night for the go home show. If they'll have like a big brawl or whatever. I know Ricochet did that little callback to what he did with Velveteen Dream. Running out of the ring, doing the whole backflip just to be like all all up in Velveteen Dream's face. He did that with Paul, but I don't know. I just really don't have much to say with it because it's just like, oh well, this is a match that they need Logan Paul to have a win.
Hmm.
So I would like to hear your thoughts. We'll start with you, Niners.
I'm on Logan Paul as winning this one. I think anybody, I mean, just kind of what Ricochet's done, he'll take the loss, which I mean, right, wrong, indifferent. Really, since he and Strowman were tagging now, he really hasn't. He's done some stuff, but not a lot from a single side. Um, since he's gotten out of that tag team, so I expect they're like you said, they want to give Logan Paul this win, and then and maybe Logan Paul LA Knight's your next one. I don't know. I don't know what their thought process is here, but I thought for sure this was going to be Logan and LA Knight, like you said, because of the way they built Money in the Bank. But but yeah, I'm going with Logan Paul for that reason. I think there'll be some stupid. There's going to be some just ridiculous moment here that will happen, something that nobody sees coming. I mean, and I look at it like that Crown Jewel where Logan Paul filmed himself going off the post to onto Roman on the table back in that when he met Roman, and like that's the kind of stuff I expect to see, some like at least a couple of those moves here in this match. But I think at the end of the day, Logan will take it.
Waffles, your thoughts on this match?
I think Logan, was it Logan's
Yes,
gonna
yes, Logan Paul.
win. I think he's gonna win for sure. I don't know. I think it's like a filler match. It's like okay, it's like it's there, but yeah, I think Logan's gonna win. Just to give him a little bit of hype because has been losing and getting pooped on, you know.
I do agree with that. So then we can move on to the next match then, which I have as the women's world title match, which they haven't officially announced it. Pretty sure they're gonna do it on Monday Night Raw. That they'll make the official announcement that Raquel Rodriguez will come back and like beat up Rhea, and then they'll make the match official. If not, we're still gonna talk about it because that's what they've been alluding to. Rhea versus Raquel Rodriguez. And then I don't like the build for this one. I I honestly don't know what they're doing with Rhea Ripley. Like I was happy that she beat in Charlotte at WrestleMania. The build for that was pretty and then there's like no direction for Rhea other than the Judgment Day is falling apart right now, and you're like mostly the main person that's keeping the glue together. So not everyone's at each other's throats. Mainly Priest and Finn. And that's mainly what she's been doing. And I mean, she had that squash match against Natalia that I predicted was gonna happen. She had a fairly decent match with Natalia after Money in the Bank on Monday Night Raw. And then that was about it. Like my thought process was the fact that she was beating down on Natalia. I figured they would have brought back Beth Phoenix, and plus there was already history there because she's the one that did the concerto on her when Edge and Finn were doing their I Quit match. So I figured, hey, I'm gonna help out Natalia because she's my bestie. That's where my thought process was, and then it just didn't pan out that way because then it was just. I think this all started when they were like it was like something. It was a backstage segment and they were just eyeing each other and stuff. And then that's when Rhea decided to attack everyone, screwed Raquel and Liv out of the tag champs because Rhea attacked Raquel's knee, so then she has a leg injury, so she couldn't be at 100% for the match. And then trying to like remember like what other stuff that alluded. I know last Monday Night Raw, just because Liv Morgan is legitimately injured again because she separated her shoulder.
Yep.
And they did the whole angle like here we need to give Liv Morgan off TV again, so we're just gonna have Rhea attack Liv Morgan. So then this is why I think Raquel is gonna like return next Monday, attack Rhea, and then they'll make the match official. Again, it's no real build to this, so I'm gonna pass it to you, Niners.
Yeah, I don't see him taking the title off of Rhea. But I think this is probably the next option. I don't know what they're planning long term with her. I think you kind of alluded to it during the Rousey Baszler discussion that I think she's a possible next opponent or longer term opponent for Ripley. But right now, like you said, there's been zero build to it. Ripley, other than Ripley attacking her and now her getting payback. But if you look at it, that's kind of been the story since Rhea took over as the women's champion, because even the Natalia stuff was a short around to get to it. So I'm just wondering if there's just nothing in the works right now because they've been so focused on Judgment Day and the stuff with Dominic that they've lost a little bit of it. Not that she's lost her edge, because she still scares the crap out of me, but the fact that she is really, it doesn't have a ton of direction other than keeping them together and really being the mouthpiece for that group. I'm a little bit concerned that she'll end up with a long title reign, but when you look back, you won't see a lot of defenses and you won't see a lot of build up, like storyline build up. It'll be more one offs or two or back to backs, like we saw with Natalia going forward. So I think they will set this up. I think Rhea will just, I think it'll be a smash for Rhea. I don't think it'll be a really a great competition or a great match. So for me, I would like to see them build somebody a face up to take her on. But right now it's so lopsided with Judgment Day and I mean, it didn't help AJ Styles getting hurt. It didn't help matters because that you lost out on that whole faction versus faction feud. So I think there's some options here going forward, but you need everybody healthy, and you got to figure out, like I said, you got to build a face up who you think legitimately has a chance to beat her, and it needs to be a long storyline. That to me is the biggest thing. Is everything's been so short with the builds for matches that it's not doing her any favors.
I mean, another thing that they could possibly do, and I know she's on SmackDown, but they had alluded to it again before Backlash, that Bianca and Rhea had that little confrontation, and my thought process was like, oh well, they're gonna have a match at SummerSlam and they're gonna merge the two titles, but they didn't do that, and they're like, oh well, the Raw's title's still on SmackDown, so we're just gonna give you Roman's belt, but with the white straps. And then again with Rhea, because you still have the SmackDown title on Raw, we're just gonna give you Rollins title belt again with the white straps. That's where again, like another thing that I thought they were gonna do, but again, it's like I'm happy that there's more women matches on the card and stuff, but it's just like there's no story, or there's barely any kind of story being put into these feuds for the women. And then I mean it's still much better compared to like AEW, which they literally only have one women's match on the card. And then I'm gonna speak because of yesterday, because everyone on Twitter and social media were really ragging on the women's match between Taya Valkyrie and Britt Baker, that it was very sloppy and slow. And some people are saying that Britt Baker's dealing with a back injury. And if that's really true, she just needs to rest then
Yep.
and not push it. Because I know she beat with Thunder Rosa with a back injury, and they thought Thunder Rosa was just being lazy and all these other things. I was like, well, she's still legitimately hurt because she's still doing commentary for the Spanish announce team on AEW and still hasn't come back yet.
Yep.
But I don't know. I want better storylines. I was like, and especially with WWE, like I'm gonna have like a little bit higher expectations now, because especially how the Bloodline thing has been playing out. So I figured, better storylines for the women, but I just don't know what they'll do. I wouldn't mind Baszler after this, because again, she has history with Rhea down in NXT, and they were like, that really big rivalry for the women's division down in NXT a few years back. But I don't know. Very, very confused what they'll do. Waffles, your thoughts on this world title match that still needs to be officially announced, but I'm gonna say it's gonna be an official match.
Honestly, I don't know. It's really up to the company at this point because I'm just like we're just waiting on the on what's gonna happen. That's all I have, honestly.
And so if the match is official, who do you have?
Honestly, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, honestly.
Between Rhea and Raquel Rodriguez, you don't know.
Oh, I don't know because there's nothing like what's gonna happen. It's like Rio's gonna win. That's it. Like it's pretty boring.
I mean, this is more of a gimme match to Rhea, because it's too early to
Yeah,
take the belt off of her.
yeah. So I think honestly it's just Rio.
Alrighty, I will lock you in for Rhea. Niners, you're with Rhea too, right?
Yep.
Alrighty, on to the next match. Because right now we have back-to-back matches where we have a clean sweep for someone. This one might be also a clean sweep, but also a coin flip kind of thing. And we have the IC title. And I'm already calling this is probably going to be the match of the night. I know we still have the whole tribal combat match and for the main event, but Gunther and Drew McIntyre, they put on a banger with Sheamus at WrestleMania. So I'm really like, ooh, just give me that. Give me what you guys gave me at WrestleMania. I know Sheamus isn't there, but you guys are still gonna like beat down on each other. But I'm like, and I'm choosing Gunther, and the reason, just like with Roman, and Cody, Gunther's very, very close to beating the Honky Tonks Man's title reign as an IC champ. So again, this is a way to elevate Gunther, which again I don't mind because I love Gunther, what he's been doing, and that he's been putting on banger after banger, just to quote Sheamus. Um, I do like the build to this because again, no one knew when Drew McIntyre was going to come back a lot. Like, oh well, they're in the UK, so of course they're gonna have to bring in, the a guy that was from the UK in to be part of the thing. And then I mean the build's pretty good. I mean a lot of good back and forth promos that they were doing. I know he teamed with Matt Riddle for here and there, but they're making Drew McIntyre look strong still, because again their last confrontation on last Monday it did end off with him powerbombing Gunther through the announce table, and so it does make him look strong. And again, this is gonna be like a really good match. It'll probably be something similar to Sheamus versus Gunther, where they were just beating the hell out of each other. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for what I have thoughts on that one. I have Gunther locked in just because again he's getting close to the Honky Tonk Man's record. So Niner, your thoughts on this?
I'm staying with Gunther on this one. I'm only doing it. I think this could be I think it could be match of the night. I'm leaning towards a different one for match of the night, but I think this one's definitely got all the possibility of taking that title as well. I don't think they're going to put it on McIntyre yet because, and I'm gonna pair this into another to the one title match because I don't think they're ready to end uh, Rollins and Balor yet, and so I think that one's going to have to go to at least another match. So I think this is going to be Drew chasing Gunther to try and take that title. At the point he does take it away, I think it then becomes him. Then Gunther slides up into the world title picture, and so I think at this point they don't want to take away from the Judgment Day Seth Rollins story. So I think they're going to keep it on Gunther. I think also to your point, we've seen a lot of records fall here in the last couple of years. I think this is another one that they want to get it on call it a new guy. They want to get on one of the newer stars, so that they have that in the books. So I could see it happening. Now I could be wrong just because I do like McIntyre and I still think that the company owes him for all of the non-fan events that he took over as the champion while we were in COVID. So I think he's got to get a run with something, but I don't think it's on Saturday. I think Gunther wins this one.
Waffles, your thoughts for this match, and who do you have
I think
winning?
it's definitely gonna go to Gunther. They wouldn't take it off him. It's like so close to like beating.
The Honky Tonk Man.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be Gunther, and I think it's too early for Drew to get like another title. You know.
I would disagree with that. Sorry. It's been a while since he's had a title. But
But
the only way that I see Drew winning this, if they're gonna like, all right, we're gonna elevate Gunther to main event status here, and have him be more involved with the world title. That's the only way that I see him losing at SummerSlam. But again, he's so close to the record that I'm pretty sure that they'll just give it to him. But I'm like, oh, this one, it's a coin flip because again, they could go either way. Either way. So we're all locked in on Gunther because JT also chose Gunther. So we have 3 matches back to back that we have a clean sweep on someone. I think, yeah, because I'm looking at Santos and Theory. I'm the only one that chose Santos. And then JT was the only one that chose Ronda Rousey for that match. And let's move on to the other ones. Speaking of Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, because we did bring them up earlier, so we can talk about them. I like the build to this match. I know some people were like talking about how Finn Balor isn't really good at the mic. I disagree with that. I really like what he does on the mic, especially if you look at his old promo work. I think it's again when you're feuding with Seth Rollins, what are you gonna realistically get during your promo? You have to you have to combat the whole singing chant that they do, and I guess his laugh. But This one's a coin flip for this one because there's a lot of things that can do and that could happen in this match that involves Judgment Day. Because again, you have Damon Priest with the Money in the Bank. Will he cash in to make it a triple threat? Will he cash in after the match on whoever wins? There's like a whole lot of things that they could do here. And again, I do like the build because they're building off like, oh, if I didn't get injured 7 years ago at SummerSlam when I won the main title, my career could be very different to what I'm doing now. And I like that because again, it's very true, and it was very unfortunate for Finn Balor when he did get injured, because I was like, all right, because I was rooting for him because I was watching his days in NXT. I was like, dude, this guy's really good. Yeah, and I had really good faith in him because when he pinned Roman clean during the whole qualification to get that title match at SummerSlam, I was like, okay, you pinned Roman clean, so I was like, they're really invested in you, and they have a lot of faith in you. So I was like, okay. So they do that. They have the match. Of course, he got injured during it was a buckle bomb because he usually does this move on the turnbuckle, but he did on the barricade, and that's when he separated his shoulder, and he had to get surgery. Relinquished the title literally the next night on Raw to Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon. And then again, his career would have been a lot more different if he didn't get injured. And again, I like that they're feeding on that. And then you just have Rollins like, yeah, no, well, I'm the champ, and you're still dealing with whatever the complications that you're doing with your team right now, because you have Damon Priest with the Money in the Bank that could easily say, oh, if you were to beat me, he could easily cash in on you to build more dissension between the group. Because it seems like they just want to destroy every faction now in WWE since they killed the Bloodline. But Niners, I'm gonna go to you again on your thoughts on this match.
I've gone back and forth on this one, because right now we talked a little bit about how hot LA Knight's been with the crowd. Cody Rhodes, Rollins is right up there too. All three of these guys are huge crowd favorites. Like I said when we were talking about the other match, I don't see this one as a like one and done, because I believe this is what their second. Is it's the second match these two have had?
Yes.
So I think you got to have a third one. I think it's got to be a big stipulation match. So I could see the way they've worked the Judgment Day faction storyline. I could see Drew. I could see Damian Priest costing Finn Balor this match, intentionally or unintentionally. So I'm going to go with Rollins, but it won't be a clean pin. It won't be. I mean, it's going to be something ridiculous that's going to try and actually continue to drive that wedge between the members of the Judgment Day. Whether, like I said, if it's accidentally, then that'll be the next storyline, and Finn will be continuing to want that title win and want one more rematch, and I think they'll end up in Hell in a Cell, to be honest with you, before it's all said and done, or a cage. It's got to be one of the two, because it'll be to keep interference out. So that's what makes me think is you're going to be looking at Rollins retains, probably by, like I said, DQ, or by something crazy happening with, and it could be any number of things. Maybe Dominic hits him with the briefcase because he's trying to take it away from somebody. I don't know. They could run any number of storyline here, but I think it'll be because of the briefcase, and I think it'll lead to that third match between these two having to be in a cell or in a cage, something to keep everyone else out. So I'm gonna go with Rollins.
I will say I don't want what they did at Money in the Bank, because they already did the whole. Oh well, I distracted you because I decided to stand up with the briefcase kind of thing, and Finn got distracted. That I don't want to see again. Like, if they're gonna do something in a way like that, they need to change it up. And like this is where I feel like this is where Damian Priest either cashes in, makes it a triple threat, because again you have the whole storyline because Seth is involved. Again, you have Seth Rollins' infamous cash in at WrestleMania, making that a triple threat match, and he won that. You could even do that, but I don't know. I want to hear Waffle's thoughts on this, and then I'll get into my thinking of who I have.
I think. I don't. Honestly, I think Seth is gonna retain the title, and they're gonna do like another big match, like another match leading up to it. But I don't want, in my opinion, I don't want Seth to lose it because he literally just got it. But again, I understand it's like, oh, Finn Balor. But then it's like Damian Priest is gonna come in there and steal the championship from him. Like, so I think they should wait on it and like let Seth win.
I will say, I actually have Finn Balor winning. I have Finn Balor winning. And again, the only reason why, because I feel like Damian Priest is gonna cash in on him. That's the only reason why. And then you have to look at it, the faction itself. You have Rhea as a champion. You have Dominic Mysterio that just recently won a title from the North American title from NXT. He's a champion. You have Damian Priest with the Money in the Bank. He could easily cash in, and again, it'll just lead to more dissension because they're the only ones with titles, and then you just have Finn Balor right there, nothing. And this is where they could allude to like, oh well, we're gonna kick you out of the group and we're gonna replace you. I know they had that little tease with JD McDonough, like who knows how long ago, like a little bit right after the draft that they were talking. So I don't know if they'll have something involved with that. Um, or hell, they could even use JD McDonough to interfere with the match to screw someone over. I don't know. But again, I have Finn Balor winning just because I wanted to see Damian Priest cash in on him, and he's still going to be the one to not have a title. And then at Payback, because that's the next pay per view, that they'll do a triple threat match. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Again, it's either Priest is going to cash in at SummerSlam during the match or after the match, just to, in a way, turn Finn not heel, turn him face, and then you you're gonna have to feel bad for the guy because again, he's only held the title for like that long, just like his previous reign. That they'll probably repeat for shits and giggles, and then again triple threat match at Payback, which I wouldn't mind. Wouldn't mind. So that's my thinking. So that's why I'm gonna lock in with Finn Balor. But any other thoughts on this match?
What JT have?
JT also chose Seth Rollins, so I'm the only loner with Finn Balor.
Okay.
It's gonna be interesting. It's a coin flip, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I can tell the story from either side. It's just a matter of which side they want to go with.
Alrighty, so if there's not any other thoughts, we can go into the next match that I have, which is Cody versus Brock Lesnar 3, which should hopefully be the last match in this rivalry. Again, we're in a build where we still don't realistically know why Brock had attacked Cody. Unless if they're
Yeah, that
unless
was kind of
unless
confusing.
if they're still going off what Wade Barrett said on SmackDown, that Brock was upset that he opened WrestleMania and he wasn't in the main event, which was Cody's and Roman's spot, which is
Mm,
which is it's just
It don't
dumb.
make
I
sense.
really hope that's not the realistic reason. Like my reasoning is that Brock will like review like, hey, I got paid off by Paul Heyman, and to basically destroy you so you're not a threat to Roman anymore, kind of thing. And then it'll lead back to Cody being back on track to be in the title running. But again, that's my thinking because again, the whole like, oh well, WrestleMania 40 is going to be probably Roman and Cody too. Electric Boogaloo. But it's interesting. I'm hoping for next Monday as they announce a stipulation to this match. This match needs a stipulation. It can't just be a regular singles match. Like it needs a stipulation. And a lot of people were saying dog collar match. I wouldn't mind a dog collar match because Cody had a really good dog collar match with Brody Lee. R.I.P. to that man. And I mean that's pretty much it for that because they haven't done a dog collar match in who knows how long. I know they did one back on NXT UK when they were doing shows still. And then, I mean, the only other dog collar matches happen in wrestling, where again was Brody Lee versus Cody. Then you have CM Punk versus MJF in that dog collar match. You have FTR versus the Briscoe brothers in that really good dog collar match for Ring of Honor. But I don't know. This has to be. It needs a stipulation. Like again, the only match that has a stipulation for on this card is Roman versus Jay. Like I figured they would have done something a little bit more special for some of these other things. Like again, like Shayna versus Rousey. I figured that would like, oh, we'll make this a submission match or possibly a fight pit. But I have Cody winning this, and I'll go elaborate more into it later. So, Niners, I'll let you have the mic now for this build and stuff.
So, the short version is, I think this was a. So I'm going to tell you two stories. I've got what I really think is going on, and I got what I would like to see going on. What I think is going on is that the WWE is using this as a way to finish off the Bloodline storyline before they throw Cody back into the title picture. I think into that the world title picture there. I think that's a big one. And I say that because I think they needed to play out the Bloodline storyline as long as they have. I mean, it was such a slow build and such a great build to where they're at today. And I don't see that one ending in the short term. So I think this was a necessity for them to have this this build. And I think it's going to be Brock. I think Cody beats Brock, and I think Brock rides off into the sunset. Now, if you want a stipulation, I'm looking at a bull rope or a Texas or a strap match. Just because if you go back in history, Dusty Rhodes had a ton of those matches when he was at his peak. I could see them, because they brought his family into it, I could see that becoming the stipulation. Now, like you said, they need a stipulation on this match. I think that's the one. If they're going to continue with the family side of things, I could see that being the like I said, the stipulation, only because of the history that I know exists with Dusty Rhodes and the WWE. But that's what I think that's what I think they're doing it for. What I would love to see this be is, as the Bloodline is imploding, I would like to see, to your point, this be Paul Heyman hired him, and that's your new faction is Roman, Solo, and Brock, with Paul Heyman as their manager. Because now you have two extremely large gentlemen protecting your world champion. I mean, Solo's been good enough as it is, but when you had everybody, if you took one out, you still had to deal with somebody else. And that's what really the whole Bloodline feud here has been missing, is that you got to take it out of the Bloodline feud, though, because if you're going to bring Brock in, there's no good sell on bringing him into the Bloodline. So you've got to sell it that Heyman paid him to take out Rhodes. It didn't work, but now here's Brock's now with them aligned. So that's what I want to see happen. I want to see those three beasts put together and let them kind of run things for a little while, and have Cody then have to go through all three of them. So again, this Brock one is his first one. Now when he realizes they're all aligned, now he's got a hit. So it allows him to go through Brock, Solo, and to get to Roman. So now you can delay that rematch to WrestleMania. You can work programs with those other two guys and get yourself to that point where he's got to build himself back up. Again, we talked about it Money in the Bank when we talked about that review, that this is definitely an option for them to put him in behind the eight ball and make him have to fight his way out of it. And I think that's your next logical or illogical. That's the way I'm leaning for it. So build wise, I think this has been a great build. Other than the fact that we have no explanation as to why Brock is attacking Cody. If they come out with it at the end of this, that, like I said, either he was paid off by Heyman or there was a slight, and again, because they brought Cody's mother into it and family into it, it could easily be that Brock got slighted by Dusty back in the day in NXT or in before NXT in OVW or whatever, that he got slighted by him and that's why he's been coming after. I don't care what story you tell me, but you need to tell me a story as to why this is happening. We've not gotten that, and usually that's what you get, is you get the attack and then you get the reasoning why. But without that, I'm hoping that I'm honestly on board with it being Heyman paid him off, and that's the whole point here, is that Heyman's going to try and form this massive group with just the biggest guys he can get. But yeah, so I'm going with Cody on this one. I think this is Cody's chance to to close out Lesnar. Again, this is your third match. This has got to have a stipulation of some sort. So I expect to see them come up with something.
Gotta be a bloody. I need Brock or Cody to bleed.
Yep.
I don't know how I feel though with having this new faction, because again you have two guys that are barely on TV anyways. Because again it's mostly Solo right now. So now that the whole bloodline is not existing anymore, because if Roman's not going to be on TV, same with Brock, it's just going to be Solo. That's why I feel like it's going to be more of the I paid off Brock angle. And then Brock will be like, well, go finish your story kind of thing, because I still don't like Roman and I don't like Heyman, because again he betrayed me to go to him. Maybe, but I don't know. Waffles, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
I don't have any thoughts on it. No, I'm kidding. Oh, yeah, I agree with Niners. I think it's gonna be like, Paul Heyman paid Brock Lesnar to like beat up Cody and all of this, and then it's like, oh, it went a little too much, because it's like, well, it's not even at this point. It's like not even part of the story where it's like, oh, I'm gonna beat you up because they got paid. It's like, okay, but I hope it's not like that, because then it's like, it's like, whatever. I guess we had to deal with Cody getting beat up, you know. But I think Cody is gonna win, so they could just end this story, and move on.
I do agree with that. So we have another clean sweep for Cody winning this match, just so he can get back on track. I mean, because he already stated not on this week's but last week's, that like, whoever wins this is basically next in line for the big title, which I'm like, I hope this doesn't allude to him going against Rollins, because I'd rather not, because again the whole finishing the storyline for him is getting the WWE title, which is now back into one title mixed in with the Universal title that Roman has. And this is where I felt like they should have just had Cody go to SmackDown. I know, because Seth Rollins can perfectly carry Monday Night Raw, and you're gonna need more big stars on SmackDown, especially when you don't have Roman showing up on TV every week, and you can just have Cody be like the face of SmackDown for that. But they're either gonna have to do the whole wild card rule again, or they're gonna do a whole superstar shakeup where some guys that are already on SmackDown will go on Raw, then people on Raw will go to SmackDown. But then again, the whole brand split is meaningless because you have Dominic and Rhea showing up on SmackDown, and Dominic defends his NXT championship, his NXT North American championship on SmackDown. But I don't know. that one's just weird. I don't even know what the whole point of doing the draft was, because you were perfectly fine with that one. With just having the whole wild card rule, just let everyone jump on whatever brand that they want to jump to. Then you have the whole Natalia thing too. She said, "Oh yeah, if I want to show up on SmackDown, I can show up on SmackDown."
But it's Natalia. She's invincible. What are you talking about? They owe her. If she can't win the championship, at least let her jump.
They got her. She has a bunch of Guinness World Records. She's fine. She doesn't need any more titles anymore.
Yes, she does. What titles have she won? She name one.
Divas.
Okay, well, only the
I think
one
she's won the
Divas.
SmackDown. I think she's won the SmackDown title
No, she
before.
hasn't.
Yeah, she has.
No.
Yeah, like this is like early
Name it.
on when the
When?
SmackDown. This was like 2016, 2017.
How long does she have it?
Oh,
Though?
well, you're such a big Natalia fan, so wouldn't you know? So why are you
Yeah, because
questioning
it was only
me?
like 2 months because they hate her.
And so, I don't know. Cody, finish your damn story, please.
He hates that phrase actually,
I
so
know,
don't
because
even
everyone
use
just
it.
jokes on it now. Because again, he should have just won
Uh,
WrestleMania. Come
so
on
to
now.
answer your question, she has not won the Raw title, but she's held everything else.
See, so let her win the Raw title.
The Raw title doesn't
And this,
exist anymore.
oh well, same thing. Let her just bring it back just for her. Then she can retire. God, they're holding her captive. They're like, can you just like get beat up for these girls? And she's like, what the? She's like, fine. And she loses. And it's depressing because she's like, you're beating up a dead horse at this point. Like, she should have done what Beth Phoenix done and just left.
I'm trying to keep a straight face. I'm trying not to break character.
What character?
My character, my persona, Alv.
Oh,
Because
you're
you know,
really bad at it.
I am the champ. You know,
What
Oh,
champ?
I am the Sandlot Talks champion.
Mm,
Defending my title at
no,
SummerSlam. Hopefully retain and
no.
dominate.
You're gonna
Be the
lose.
champion for 1,000+ days.
You know what? You're gonna lose to me. I'll be the. You know what? You'll be the next Natalia. You'll just win once and then that's it. Beat it.
I mean, we are talking about the women's division, so we can talk about our second to
Honestly,
last
Kelly has had more reigns than Natalia.
because Kelly was all about her looks, so they're like, yeah, let's push the person
Yeah,
that's
I
good.
love
That's
Kelly though. Kelly is my mommy.
it's like let's push to someone that's eye candy to the audience, which that's how it
Yeah,
basically was during that
she's like
Divas era.
Kelly is like the John Cena of
I
women.
wouldn't. Easy now.
Yeah, because she was all American, you know? She was like, I'm American girl. And John Cena was like, oh, let's do this. Be the boo, you know? Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no.
What match did you
Honestly,
want to
I
talk about, Alf?
I wanted to talk about the WWE Women's title, you know, the triple threat match. I mean, I guess that's a stipulation as well because there's no DQ in that match because it was a triple threat. Um, yeah. So triple threat, we have Bianca Belair versus Asuka, who is the champion, versus Charlotte. Um,
Charlotte's winning.
God, I hope not, because I
Yeah,
just
she's gonna win. Watch it.
I just cry. I mean, JT has Charlotte winning. I don't want her to
Honestly,
win.
Charlotte's gonna win. Watch it.
I,
Asuka's
I,
gonna
I will say
lose.
I don't mind the build to this match. The only thing I really hate, and this seems to be like a really big trend when it comes to Asuka, feuds and storylines. She's not the main thing. Like she's basically the side character, the background, and like not being really involved. Because this is more like a Bianca Charlotte feud,
Mm.
and then you have Io and Bailey in the background as well doing their thing, and I'm like, okay. So again, Asuka's a side character to the story, and I don't want Bianca to win. I feel like
You know why?
it's a little too early for her to have a title again.
You know why?
Why?
Because WWE hates Asian people.
I'm talking about Bianca Belair, but okay.
Well, you're talking about Asuka.
I'm talking about Bianca Belair because I'm just going by who I want to win and who I
Oh,
don't
well,
want to win.
Bianca.
So your statement, please don't get me canceled on here.
You'll get canceled. It's true.
As I was saying,
Yeah, okay.
I don't want Bianca winning the title because again, she already had her long reign. Give her a little break before you put her back and put the title back on her. And then plus they're teasing this possible heel turn because her character has been a little bit more edgy, which I do like because then it just brings me back to her NXT days. And that she was in like the edgy character. Well, she was more of a heel in NXT, but I wouldn't mind just like what they're doing with Matt Riddle, that he's a baby face, but when it's time to be serious, that he'll be that serious character. That's where I kind of see what they can do with Bianca Belair, maybe, or if they just want to do a full-on heel turn. Though I did see reports that she doesn't want to be a heel, just because she is getting the John Cena treatment, being that role model to the kids. But I mean, they were trying to do the same thing with Roman, and you see, just look what happened to Roman. They turned him heel, and everyone loves it. Then Charlotte, I don't want her to win because Charlotte, she already has enough title reigns on her belt, and so she doesn't need it. I want Asuka to win. I just want her to retain, and the main reason why is because I want her to feud with Io Sky. If she's gonna drop the title, it's gonna be to Io Sky since she is Miss Money in the Bank. That's the only way that I can see panning out. Maybe Io might even cash in, make it a fatal 4-way, or again she waits until after the match, or she just waits down the road because I want to see an Asuka Io feud. But yeah, Niners. I'm gonna pass it to you on your thoughts on this.
So short version, I would love to see an Asuka Io feud. I think that would be one of the greatest feuds that they've had. Okay, so this is the way I'm gonna lay this one out. I agree with everything that you said. I think this is a two-parter. I think Asuka retains in this match. I think Io cashes in on her because at the end of this match, I think Charlotte and Bianca, obviously, since they can't get along, are going to take out. It's going to be a one-upsmanship deal. After the match, Asuka will find a way to steal it, and those two are going to just trade finisher after finisher on her, and that's going to lead Io to come down and take the title away, cashing in. If I had to pick, I think she cashes in sooner than Priest does because I think there's more to that storyline with the Judgment Day that they can run. I don't see it here, but I think Asuka wins this match, and I do think that there's a cash in by Io at the end of that match. I think it's kind of set up for that where Asuka, like I said, she can pull a win out. However, the miss doesn't matter because there's no DQ, so she could miss both of them. She could missed one of them. My fear is that they're going to have Charlotte pin Bianca to win it, but I'm going to lean towards Asuka. Build-up's been good on this one, though. I think they did a good job of making it a triple threat. You saw it coming but they didn't. It wasn't like the obvious way to get there. They worked a little different angle to get into the triple threat than they've done in the past. So build up wise, I liked it.
Yeah, like I said, I don't mind the build. Again, the only thing that was just like really annoying that they had Asuka be like a side character to this when she's a champion. But like I said, this always seems to be a thing with Asuka when she's a champion, that she's more of a side character to this because she's usually just feuding with someone that happens to be in a somewhat faction or in a tag team. Because again, when she was feuding with Sasha during pandemic years, Bailey was there because they were tag team partners. So it was, and plus the main focus was that like, oh, is Sasha and Bailey, are they gonna coexist just because Bailey has all these titles on her, you know? But again, I have Asuka. So you're locking in on Asuka too.
Correct.
Alrighty. Waffles, go ahead and give your thoughts on.
Charlotte's gonna win. Yeah, I think Charlotte's gonna win. But I would like to see a Bianca heel turn.
So you
Even though I know
have
she doesn't
Charlotte
like
winning. Like this is like official. So you have Charlotte winning. Alrighty. Alrighty. Would you like to give your in-depth analysis why you have Charlotte winning?
Because it's Charlotte.
That might be the
That's
best
it.
analysis, Alv.
I mean,
Just because she's Charlotte.
she's not wrong, but alrighty. Before we go to our last match, of course, just to do an overview of all the other matches. Again, for Shayna and Rousey, we have all three of us have chosen Shayna except for JT, one with Ronda Rousey. Again, for next week's SmackDown, it would probably be Theory versus Santos Escobar. You guys, including JT, chose Theory. I'm the only one that's going with Santos. For Logan Paul versus Ricochet, we all chose Logan Paul. For the World Women's title or the Women's World title, it's either or. We all chose Rhea to beat Raquel. IC title match, we all chose Gunther to retain. And then World Heavyweight, you guys all went with Seth Rollins. I'm the only one that went with Finn Balor. Cody versus Brock, we all went with Cody. We're all hoping for a stipulation on that match. And then we'll just finish talking about the WWE Women's title. Me and Niners had went with Asuka. And then JT and Waffles went with Charlotte Flair. And again, I will ask you guys if you guys would like to make any kind of changes before we make it official. So now we can get into, again, the main event because you have Roman. And I don't see any other match being the main event. So we got Roman versus Jey Uso in tribal combat. I like the build. I will say, I wish that they did the same thing what they did during the pandemic when they started off the whole bloodline story between them feuding, is that they got the family more involved. Like again, you had the Wild Samoans show up and crown Roman tribal chief, the head of the table. And I figured they would involve more family. Like I figured Rikishi would be more involved again. And same thing with the Wild Samoans. Like again, I love the build. I just wanted more family involved. Maybe we'll see more family involved. Maybe this SmackDown. Maybe next week at the Go Home show. But I'm like, I know Roman's gonna win. But they're doing the same thing like they did with Cody, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, and all of them other guys before. That they're giving me the slight hope that maybe Jey Uso can possibly maybe pull off a win. Maybe. But my thought process is that they'll have another match at the next pay-per-view at Payback. And there's a lot of big significance for Payback. Because that's when that pay-per-view is when Roman became champion for well, let's just say 4 years now, because they're gonna be closing in on 4 years soon. So, and that match could also have a stipulation, because they had a regular match, and I'm talking about pandemic years. Their first match was a regular match, and then they had a match at Hell in a Cell, which was a Hell in a Cell I Quit match, which, I mean, they could have just had a regular I Quit match. But that's my thought process. That Roman's going to retain, probably with some interference from Solo, because that's how it's always been with Roman matches. There's always going to be outside interference. Maybe other family members get involved, like Rikishi. Again, it's anything goes with this tribal combat. They're just adding this label to it, but it's basically a no DQ Extreme Rules, whatever you want to call it. But I have Roman winning that again because of shenanigans with having the family involved. Maybe wink, wink. The Rock returns. There is a strike going on, so the Rock isn't working right now. He could maybe pull up to Detroit. I don't know. So Niners, I'll let you have the mic and put your thoughts into this.
Okay, I was kind of going back on this because really the match you're talking about is what really started. I mean, it really started the whole bloodline. I mean, if you look at that storyline, this storyline's been running for that long. Not in its immediate, call it, not in the way it's looked here lately, but that internal struggle between these two guys. And I think with Jimmy still out, I'm going to go with Roman winning it. But they've done exactly what you said. They've given a little bit of hope here with Jay, especially with him making the pinfall in the tag match at Night of Champions.
Money in the Bank.
Night Champions? Money in the Bank. Thank you. At Money in the Bank. That one, that's what threw me a little bit. I don't think they're ready to take it off of Roman yet. So if this was a normal, call it a normal match, then I could see Jay winning by disqualification. But because they took that out of there, I don't know if SummerSlam is the right moment for them to do this. But what I just envision, if it was me, I envision them bringing back all of these family members, like having them just appear on stage or having them just pop out all together, like all at once, not bringing them back like a couple here, a couple there, and then everybody builds in. But I just think, because I think that would give Roman the shock. And with the way they've done things now with Roman, as far as, kind of his reaction to the things that have happened to him, if they did that, or they came down again at the end of this, you tell me that we're going to get a Roman J lumberjack match where the lumberjacks are all family members, I'm on board. Because you have enough guys that you could bring them in. You have enough family members working in the industry that you could bring them in and have them be the lumberjacks. And then you can see the family kind of come together and pick one of the two, and that becomes your leader. I don't know. These guys, they've teased me enough with this one. They've really, this has been one of my favorite parts. It was one of the things I hated the most when it first started, but it's one of the things I've loved the most since it's evolved and they've continued to tell the story. I think it's been one of the most fun storylines they've run in a long time. So I think Roman wins it. I'll agree with you. I think Solo is involved. I think Jay ends up being there by himself. Jimmy's not back yet. I don't think nobody else comes out. I think it's just going to be him kind of getting beat down a little bit and Roman taking the title or taking the win. And I think that we could see Jay away for a while. So it could sell an injury here with him. Because then it would give him that kind of that story would be him going back home and getting all the family members and bringing them in So I think there's some good stories that can go on here. This has been by far the WWE's best storyline for years. And I'm thinking all the way back I can't think of the last one that I can really think of, and so this is going to date myself here. But the last one I can really think of that I thought was done this well was the Hogan Macho Man when they turned macho, and that whole thing was another one of those long running programs um, that they did with those two guys, and those two went from baby faces to one heel to switching it back. It raised the gamut. What made me think of that was I saw I've seen a few of the behind the or Dark Side of the Rings, and I was watching a couple of those, and that's what got me thinking, because that whole storyline when it happened, I didn't understand it at the time, but now you look back, it's like that was one of those really good pieces of storytelling. So I see this one being the same way. Short version is Roman takes the title, uh, or keeps the title. Jay, whether they injure him or not, I think he ends up getting beat down, and he's got to go. He's going to be the one going out looking for help here, moving into Payback, and that's why I think Payback will be a big one, because that will be him trying to get his payback for what happened at SummerSlam.
Interesting that you brought up a whole lumberjack match because they have the family to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, even Umaga's kid is now actually out and about wrestling now, because I know he was training with at Booker T's wrestling school. Now he's out and about.
Yep. Yep. I saw that. YouTube had one of his matches on it, but if you just look at the number of family members they could bring in for that, it's been ridiculous.
Have Tamina come out and super kick Roman. I wouldn't mind that because when Tamina and the Usos debuted, they were like in a somewhat faction.
Well, and I think at the end of it, it's I didn't say this, but I think at the end of it, it'll be Solo who upends Roman. I think he will finally have enough, and he'll.
I was gonna bring that up because again, they're teasing Solo possibly turning on Roman because again, like the whole, I don't think he cares about the title. I feel like the more like the power of being the tribal chief is what's more influencing Solo, and it's like, and you saw that in Money in the Bank, like when after Roman did the stack pin with the Usos and they had kicked out, and then you have Roman like freaking out and crying, and then they pan the camera to Solo and he's like looking at Roman like like this, is this really my tribal chief, like
Yep.
kind of thing, like seriously, like what are you doing? And then sorry, I dropped my water bottle. You see Solo like take charge and like, yeah, well, let's keep beating down on him. Then you see Roman like agreeing with him, like, yeah, let's do it, let's just keep beating down on them, and then they'll eventually like kick out. And then I think it was last Friday's SmackDown. You have Solo keep looking at the main thing that Roman wears to signify that
Yep.
he the tribal chief, and then he did it the same thing again in the ring, but he was holding it and he didn't want to give it
Mm-hmm.
back to Roman right away. And so it was like there's a lot of things that they could even do with Solo, but I don't know. This is another weird direction because again, a lot of things could and can happen here. Waffles, would you like to give us your thoughts as well too on this tribal combat match?
Yeah, I agree with Niners on this one. Also, it's like, um, yeah, I just think that they do have enough family to like bring in all of this. It would be cool to see everyone get together and be like, you need to stop this, Roman, and all of that, you know. But I also think first storyline is so good. It's really good, even though I hate watching it. Like I hate watching it so much because I'm like, oh, I hate Roman. but I think Roman might win. Honestly, and then they're gonna beat them up more, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, you suck."
I mean, again, there's like again, it started with Jay. This whole storyline thing started with Jay. That's why a lot of people are saying it should end with Jay. But then again, you have to also like look at it like, oh, what will Jay do? Is he gonna feud with Solo? Because then again, he's gonna have the whole tribal chief title. Because again, the title of being tribal chief, along with the titles, also on the line here. So is it like, will he feud with Solo after this? Like, I don't know what stories that they'll do with Jay, and I feel bad because then I feel like that they'll just redo a whole Kofi Kingston, because again, like everyone was all excited when Kofi Kingston won, but then like as soon as he became champ, there wasn't necessarily a whole lot of good storylines or feuds for him to be involved with, except for the Randy Orton one. I really enjoyed the Randy Orton one, but I don't know. And again, you have to think about the outside factors. Like again, will it be Cody that will end up dethroning? Because then you have to think about it. He made that line at Roman, like like it's like you're gonna be a chief without a tribe kind of thing, which is basically where he's at right now, a chief without his tribe. But like I said, I want more family involved with this. That's why I'm hoping family get involved with the match. Because again, it's no DQ. You can do whatever you want to each other. But it'll be interesting. Very, very interesting. So are we all locked in on Roman? Because that's pretty much what's going to probably happen.
I am.
Waffles.
Yes, Roman's winning.
Alright, let me lock that in. Alrighty. And that's all the matches that we have covered. Is there any other changes you guys want to make? And is there a match that you want us to go back to? Like, hey, I actually want to change my answer because I'm feeling a little iffy now, kind of thing. Or are we all good and set in stone with what we have?
I'm good. I think I'm gonna win, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. What are our tiebreakers? Because there could definitely be multiple ties here.
I don't have tiebreakers set, and I was actually going to talk about that right now. That what I'll do, especially after SmackDown and the Go Home Raw next week, is I'll probably have actual tiebreakers set, and I'll send them out to you guys and answer those as well for potential
No,
tiebreakers.
no way.
Of course, like some of them, like, oh, will there be a cash in? Will there be a surprise return? Of course, like that's gonna be on there, so you guys can already start thinking since I'm already telling you guys. And then I'll just think of like a few other tiebreaker questions that I can add to, so then we don't end up with a tie within the tiebreaker because we have so little tiebreaker questions.
Mm-hmm.
Because again,
Works for me.
last predictions went into a tiebreaker, and I won. Because I am the champion. Because this is my title, and this is my show, and I run the yard.
No, it's mine. It's gonna be mine.
But yeah, I am defending my title.
No.
Putting it on the line against Waffles, against Niners, against JT. Again, he unfortunately couldn't make it here because he was having internet issues. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. What I have here, and before I switch up things, just to wrap up this video, because I'm also recording on YouTube. Again, I will be showing my lineup for next month for August. There we go. Yeah, like I said, August will start on August 1st. I will be doing MLB trade deadline because that is when the trade deadline is. So I'll be doing live coverage, hopefully some breaking news and some ridiculous trades go down. So I will be talking about that stuff. And then I have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie review. So I believe the movie comes out on August 2nd. So I will be trying to watch that movie immediately as soon as possible. Then August 25th, that is a Friday, I will be doing my first AEW like predictions podcast, and which will be covering All In, their big stadium show in London. So we'll be covering that as well. Hopefully, I can get you guys on as well. Hopefully, get some of the people that are more into AEW on so they can give more insight on that. But yeah, I might have a few other things. I know I'm like on the background scene. I'm talking about doing a possible fantasy football league. I might It'll be something that I could stream the draft. But yeah, so just to wrap up the YouTube video, if hopefully you guys really enjoyed this podcast, leave a comment, give me your predictions on what you guys got going for SummerSlam, and then if you want to subscribe, subscribe. But yeah, that's all I have for YouTube. So goodbye to YouTube.